We were consolidating nicely, but the market just broke out to the downside. We are seeing a clear risk-off move on our main assets right now. This is Tiger at FXEmpire, and we're heading into the afternoon session. And after some consolidation earlier, we are getting a risk-off breakout. And all because of the hearing on Capitol Hill for the nomination and confirmation, possible confirmation of Kevin Warsh to the Fed chair position. Taking a look over here at the volatility index, the VIX. You can see these last two candles. This is an hourly chart I've got up here, guys. And you can see very clearly where we have started to pick up just a little bit of volatility, bouncing right back into that 20 level that we had hit yesterday in the early part of the London session. So that's kind of where we stand right now. Again, the Kevin Warsh confirmation hearings, I watched most of it. Some of it was a little spicy. Some of it was pretty good. But you guys know how senators can be when they're grilling somebody on Capitol Hill for confirmations. It gets a little testy at times. And as a result of that, the dollar index, the Dixie, did get a little bit of a push upwards as well. So we are kind of bouncing into that 98.39 area. And this is still kind of a continuation of this supply zone that I had already outlined on a couple of videos, guys. If we do continue to break through that, the next real potential resistance is kind of at this 98.6 level where we do have this former support, and we're going to see if it becomes resistance. Now, we do have a 200 EMA up here as well. I'm back to a 4-hour chart now, just so you know. But yeah, we do have a 200 EMA a little higher at the 98. Well, basically, just call it the 99 level by the time price would potentially get up there. And as far as those dollar-based assets, remember the Kiwi dollar short was really the only one I was interested in. Perhaps with seeing this little bit of dollar strength, perhaps this could be the linchpin on this bearish asset to get prices to start moving downwards. So you can see we have kind of dropped down a little bit. We're still within that this is just basically one big consolidation and expansion area. If we take a look at this using the Discord joint channel, guys, this is what some people affectionately call the megaphone pattern because it does tend to have the higher highs, lower lows at the same time, which basically means as price goes up and down a little more each time, it's basically waking up those higher time frame traders looking at higher time frame zones on their charts. So that's what we're really seeing right now. I would anticipate this thing to drop, I got to say. So, not financial advice. We are kind of still right at about the 50% of this overall move. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get a drop down. And if we do, we've obviously got a zone of demand down here waiting for it. I would say this is maybe a little bit on the minor side of a demand zone. If it chews through this, then the next stop is obviously going to be the higher time frame daily demand zone all the way down here at the bottom, 57.38 area. So that's the one that I'm keeping my eye on the most. Taking a quick look at your TLT bonds, they're still overall going pretty well sideways, just stepping out to the daily time frame. A lot less volume spread analysis activity over the last week or so. Going to your 4-hour chart. And again, we're just kind of in this overall sideways move. So just looking for a breakout on this thing. Same thing with the reciprocated version of that, which is yields. Again, still bouncing off this former resistance from way back here. And it's pretty much acting as a magnet on either side. So you do have a little bit of supply and demand on either side of this. Chiefly this one up here at the 4.32 area. And then this one down here that we did get a bounce off of at the 4.24% level. And as you can see, guys, when it bounced in that zone of demand, what happened? Pushed right back up. Yeah, oil has officially fallen off my list, so I'm not interested in any longs on it as we speak. Now, we are obviously getting a little bit of a bullish move, again, as a result of this confirmation hearing, because that's about the only thing I've seen, guys. I haven't seen anything else out of the Middle East over the last bit of time. Obviously, we are still in that ceasefire through tomorrow evening here in the U.S., so on that front, there's just a lot of wait and see, but people are looking for any excuse to try to break out of these consolidation zones. So it does appear that the Kevin Warsh confirmation hearing has given them a little bit of a catalyst. Just looking at oil down here, you can see all the volume spread analysis picking up, all these yellow candles, basically since just shortly before. So again, getting a nice push up on oil. It's off my list. Higher time frame. Just remember, we've got a strong downtrend going on. So at this point, you're pretty much fighting the trend if you're trying to buy. And you also got to keep in mind, if I go up to a 4-hour time frame, that you are getting close to bouncing into an overhead supply zone at that 97 and 3/4 level. And that's WTI, by the way. So flipping on over to Brent, kind of a similar situation, except over here we are bouncing into that supply zone as we speak. So a little bit of resistance, a little bit of supply, pretty decently strong supply zone too. I got to say, had a pretty good gap downwards, broke structures. That first leg out candle wasn't the greatest volume, but obviously this bigger expanded range red candle was quite strong. So, yeah, just wait and see for me as far as oil. NatGas still got that same strong downtrend, although it did see a little bit of a lift again during the Warsh confirmation hearing, which I don't think had too much to do with it. Again, guys, this is all about supply and demand right now for NatGas. Okay, there's a high supply in the storage tanks. There's less demand because of the warmer, milder weather we're getting throughout various parts of the world. So overall, this thing's just going down in value, and the trend reflects it. Having a look at gold and silver, you can see we've had that bigger than recent candle downwards. Talking about the kind of the aftermath, if you will, of the Kevin Warsh hearing. Same thing with silver, getting a little bit bigger of a candle. Now, remember, silver's in a pretty strong uptrend as far as recent highs and lows dating back to March 23rd, and this is a 4-hour chart. So that's pretty significant. So if price comes down to this demand zone down here, I could definitely see some type of bounce. I think traders are just looking for any excuse right now to enter a trade with as boring as this price action has been lately, guys. I say boring, but I'm speaking more so for the short-term swing traders and above. Okay, it's a different story when you get down to the scalpers and the algos and the shorter-term day traders. Okay, it's a little bit different of a story because you basically can play around with sideways trend, balances off of support and resistance, and even supply and demand zones as well. I just prefer to stay out of that. I don't think you have a whole lot of bankers playing in those time frames. I want to stick to the 4-hour and above personally. Gold and silver aren't really too far away, by the way, from being a bullish signal as far as I'm concerned. Now, just looking at gold for a second, we did have the one demand zone that's already been tested, and as you can see, it's pushed away. So it's trying to come back. It's basically at the midpoint since April 1st. Okay, this whole month of April has basically been within about a $200 range, and we're talking about an almost $5,000 instrument, right? So, yeah, just kind of sideways, boring. But then again, when you look at silver, higher highs and higher lows, I kind of drew up a little bit of a projection yesterday, just getting an idea of what I think that could possibly happen. If we do get a drop into demand down here, I could definitely see price bouncing at least up to this next supply zone, if not further. If we get one or two more pieces of negative data for the U.S., the United States dollar, guys, we could see gold and silver back on the bullish list. But yeah, tomorrow consumer price index comes out it's going to be 2 a.m., so the start of the London session, and that will be a 0.3% higher than the previous number forecast. Okay, so that's what we're looking at for the regular CPI, the headline CPI, and then the core CPI minus the volatile gas and all that. Okay, that's going to be right on the previous number of 3.2%. So that's your quick look at tomorrow. And my goodness, ECB President Christine Lagarde is set to speak yet again. That lady is on TV more than anybody I've seen lately. Okay, she's just constant lip flapping sessions. So will be interesting to see what she has to say. That's more of a medium impact event starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's New York City time, it looks like. And then flipping on over here to Bitcoin. As you can see, we've had a little bit more of a risk-on drop over the last couple hours. Not anything crazy. It's not like it's dropping like a rock. It's just slowly retracing a little bit of this upwards movement during the London session, I should say. So we've basically retraced London's gains on this thing. This is just one big mess right through here. There's a lot of wicks. Okay, there's a lot of short candles. So I don't like really hardly any of this for demand zones. I'm still going to be keeping my eyes all the way down at the $71,000 level, okay, where we can see this zone of demand on a 4-hour time frame. That's the one that I'm going to be watching for a possibility of buys to the long side up in this area somewhere. So I need to go ahead and at this point delete the old zone that I took my profits on last week. so that I can get that out of my way. That way I can focus on this one down here again. 71,000, ladies and gents. Keep an eye on that area if and when we drop. And yeah, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine with seeing this negative reaction if I'm a Bitcoin trader, because hopefully that could push it down to give us a nice discount for this buy. So we'll see how that turns out. Moving on over to the broad U.S. indices, S&P, yeah, down at the almost to the 7,000 level. I guess we're getting closer. 7,000's a little further down, actually, now that I see it. But hey, are we going to close this gap today? Hey, again, it's been a little light on activities and events of late. So will this confirmation hearing be the catalyst to drop us down to close these gaps? Okay, that's that was the S&P. This is the NDX, and then over here is the Dow. Taking a look at our old buddy Apple over here, guys. Remember I told you all this morning, Tim Cook did decide yesterday to step down. So it looks like we are getting a little bit of a negative reaction out of that. Tuesday 11. I need to go change my time frame. Okay, it's just been a downtrend ever since the confirmation hearing, but it also just stalled out when we hit this overhead zone of supply, this daily, guys. Okay, remember I drew this up? So that's exactly what we're bouncing into. So it's not going to shock or surprise me at all to see this thing just completely want to come all the way back to the 245, 247 half levels. Yeah, Apple, I'm getting a little bit of a bullish signal overall on it still, but again, I just need a retracement. A little too expensive. Maybe this confirmation hearing can be a little bit of a linchpin for it. I would be interested to see what happens, though, if we do come down to the 259 to 258 range, because we do have a little bit of a demand here. The only challenge with this demand zone, ladies and gents, is the fact that if you look to the left, there's way too many candles. That's way too much time, in my opinion, spent at that price level. Yeah, I just don't know about that. Probably look for something a little deeper. Because at this point, here's the challenge. We've bounced into a daily supply, so I will not want to be trusting any nearby demand zones here or even really that area either, just because that daily is going to be much stronger than these smaller time frame zones. So definitely going to skip that. And just having a look at Netflix, ladies and gents. Remember, we had earnings come out for this on Thursday, I believe it was. And after that, we just saw just a big, ugly drop. Now, Netflix itself, so yeah, I'm looking at a very strong bullish signal for Netflix. This could be quite the discount, guys. Now, we're in a little bit of that risk-off drop at the moment, again, due to that Kevin Warsh confirmation hearing. But this, I got to admit, this might be a pretty decent zone of a discount. We're in a 4-hour demand as we speak. But again, guys, if you look to the left, in my opinion, just like what we was looking at with Apple, that's way too much time spent in this zone. If I'm trying to accumulate a position from here, taking it up here, that's probably plenty of time to do so. Okay, that's probably going to be way more time that's needed, especially for a larger institution. And then what happened? Assuming they accumulated all their position, well, prices already moved up, and this is where they've kind of cashed out again in this overhead daily supply. So prices coming down, trying to find some more bids, and I just don't know that I want to trust this area. Heck, maybe even a little lower at the 84 level, because at least down there we got a 4-hour demand with a former resistance going right through the heart of it. And just some forward-looking geopolitical drivers and economic results, guys. We did have some positive retail sales numbers come out today. Yet we are still seeing the risk-off pressure I've already alluded to. I've already mentioned Kevin Warsh's Capitol Hill confirmation hearing, which did contribute to that cautious tone that we are seeing at the moment. Again, a little bit of that risk-off drop. I watched most of it, and really to sum it all up in one statement, when he was asked by Senator Warren if he is going to be President Trump's sock puppet, he replied no, and stated later that there's no room for politics at the Federal Reserve. I think a lot of us couldn't agree more on that. So again, guys, just keep in mind tomorrow at the start of the London session, we do have the British Pound Consumer Price Index numbers on tap, see what the inflation looks like there. And it, of course, could influence the pound and the broader sentiment. Lastly, some actionable thoughts for the afternoon, guys. With the risk-off breakout in play, watch how prices are behaving around some of these zones that we've pointed out. Key support and resistance, supply and demands on your charts. Definitely keep those stops, be diligent with your stop losses and I would still say avoid overcommitting on larger positions until we at least see some sustained follow through with this very short term risk off move we've seen, and stay nimble because again, guys, we're less than 36 hours to what I jokingly said was D-Day, which basically means, are we going to get that deal or not? Okay, the Middle East deal. So that wraps up today's midday recap. Appreciate you watching. Drop your biggest takeaway from today's price action in the comments. Again, guys, I'll be back on my live stream tomorrow. That's in lieu of the pre-market videos now. So that'll be 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come and holler at me. Okay, send all the questions, tickers, anything you guys want to know, and I'll do my best to try to answer it. Roughly 30, 45 minutes, kind of get you guys off on the right foot before the cash session tomorrow. So I'll see you in the next update. Take care.